You are listening to the Mark Lesko podcast, a podcast by diehard fans for fans. Mark covers all things Penn State football and the Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as anything related to the sports and fitness world. Tune in weekly to listen to a couple of dedicated fans talk about these topics without filters. Thank you for listening to the Mark Lesko podcast.
What's up, Steeler Nation? Welcome to the Mark Lesko podcast. I'm your host, Jay Rod, and this is Steelers Central. Competitive, that's what I put down, not competition. Competitive is what I put down for the kickoff topic. Someone show the Steelers coaching staff what that means. I just don't have, again, any inkling of what they're trying to prove other than giving Mike Tomlin this regular season winning record, 9-8. Just again, all you have to do is win 9-8 and you will still have a winning record to put on that, Hall of Fame career of this coach. I don't get it. I do not get how this franchise was always about winning, wanting to win at all costs. Doesn't always happen. Of course not. I mean, dynasties can only happen probably once every 15, 20 years. And yeah, we witnessed it like, what is it? I'm trying to think of another dynasty outside of football. Like, what was it for? Basketball, there was Michael Jordan and the Bulls had all those years of success. The Yankees always had success there. And with football, I'd like to think at one point it was the Patriots in the early 2000s. Always had a hand or, in the mix with the playoffs and Super Bowl talk pretty much from 2001 to 2020. So it's just crazy. Just almost 2 decades of success and ownership dynasty. The Steelers have not shown that. Again, they don't really show that. They have these 5 or 6 year spurts, because they did it in the, early 90s with Bill Cowher when he took over for Chuck Noll and then, made the transition. They made the Super Bowl in 95, but they lost to the Cowboys. And they didn't go back to the Super Bowl for another decade. So it was like from 96 to 2003 or so, like they had winning seasons, but, they weren't ever like in the conversation competitive. And then when Big Ben showed up, they got into the Super Bowl the following year and they were playing the Seahawks. They won that game outright, had great players, had, very good sustainable success. And, after the 2006 season, Bill left and he had a Super Bowl championship. That's all he wanted to prove with Pittsburgh. And I commend him for having the career he had. And then we went over to Mike Tomlin. And so far, everything you heard, it was just like, yeah, this is one of the youngest coaches in the NFL. I think he was 36, 37 when he got the job. And he was not he was handed a big present filled with a lot of great players. And they were relevant from that point for 3-4 straight years. They were always in the playoffs trying to make the Super Bowl. Won in 2009, got to it in 10. And then ever since pretty much the transition from Troy Polamalu, and then it was that short-lived Ryan Shazier career, and then TJ came in. There's all these defensive names that you associate with what years were what. The Troy Polamalu years were probably my favorite. It was just the first jersey I ever had for the Steelers was Troy's. And the dude was like a godsend. He was just absolutely one of the best things to happen, not just for Steelers, but for football. He was just that electric. He was fun to watch. He was just an acrobat with long hair. It was so great to see that sea of hair just flying all over the place. And it was always memorable. And then there was the transition with Ryan Shazier taking the reins and doing spectacular things. He had so much of us ready to believe we were going to go back. And then that happened, and just probably one of the worst incidences in the history of the game, not just for Steelers, but just for NFL. It was just such a tragic way to go. And with his career, just terrible. But, you know, TJ showed up, and he was as ferocious as anybody I've ever seen, and he was electric. And, you know, Cam Hayward had been through a lot of that. He'd been through pretty much everybody. He was always there. But, again, ever since Big Ben left, the word competitive has been completely lost on the Steelers between the coaching staff, the ownership, the guys that come in. I mean, Omar Khan, we have praised him for bringing the guys he had brought in. And so far that was always the case, and nothing had really been a disappointment. But these last few games, it just seems like we're really starting to question, is DK Metcalf like really the answer, or is it because, you know, the play calling isn't as efficient? You know, is Arthur Smith just Matt Canada with like just a step or two ahead of him? I mean, there's a lot to be said about what an organization is supposed to give a player. And this coaching staff with Terrell Austin, just, I don't know where it's at. It's not there. I know that. That is something we can say for complete certainty, that this is not competitive football. This is not something that they have been for quite some time. They just don't have anyone to rely on. And now with Aaron Rodgers having his first bad game, it can happen. It can happen, but all the signs are pointing towards the defense is starting to get a lot of bad injuries. The Isaac Salamalu injury on the offensive line is devastating. It's really starting to take effect. And we're sitting here as fans just kind of going, once again, just everything that you had not given the team to do anything to be competitive and not put yourself in the best position to be competitive and try to go somewhere. It's just, once again, we're just hoping that something happens, and it never shows. Art Rooney II, it's definitely a different makeup right now. It just is. I don't recognize the Steelers anymore. It's not what I remember. And again, I understand that things change and you have to adapt to it, but this is not something you ever want to see, especially from this fan base. What was once the way you did things is not anymore. I mean, this is just not the way that it should happen. It should not happen this way, where it's one thing where you can't adjust, but to make no adjustments, to be that stubborn or be that arrogant and have the ego the size of, like, you know, Texas. I mean, I don't know what to say about it. It's just, it's unfortunate that these things can occur, especially, again, with a historic franchise that always wants to win, always wants to preach it. And we always are accustomed to going into a season having a chance to do something. But again, we're relying now on old players, Cam, Aaron, Slay. They're guys. I'm not saying they can't play their positions, but this is kind of a game where you can play. You know, if you can stay healthy. I mean, yes, I commend these guys for wanting to keep beating themselves up week in and week out during the fall and the winter time of every NFL season. It's a remarkable thing that they're putting themselves through. But in the end, the positions that guys like Hayward and Slay are, I mean, you got to be around 25-30, not 35-40. Like, and yes, I think Father Time can creep up at any moment. And was it a senior game for Aaron Rodgers? I kind of hope that. I mean, we definitely don't want to see this pattern continue, No one should, but he didn't look like this at all this year. And of course, last night Boswell missed a field goal, which it's like, oh, there went they're like, oh, we have one nope, never mind. No, I mean, it just takes one. The guy has basically hit everything, and when it mattered to get points, they just didn't get anything. And just another, oh man, just has to happen, Again, Murphy's Law, guys. Everything that can go wrong does. And that's just what you get when you don't have a plan to be competitive. These guys need to learn that. This coaching staff apparently just doesn't care to know the actual definition. They want to know their own version of it. It's unfortunate. It's absolutely unnecessarily unfortunate for us to go through this year in and year out. The last time the Steelers had the competitive nature again was maybe during COVID. And again, no one was thinking about winning or championships when that was going down, but they did have that ridiculous start to the season. And everyone, of course, poo-pooed it. And it was, of course, exposed when they had to play the Browns. I think that was in Pittsburgh. I don't think it was on the road. And they just completely laid an egg against Baker Mayfield and company. And then we went into the next season. I think we had a winning record. I mean, yeah, we always have a winning record, but I don't know if it was a big winning record or it was like 9-8 or 8, whatever the 500 record would be. But the general feel that you get is they're just relying on, again, old players who know the game so well they don't need to be coached, and they're not developing any young players that could make them something great, but that's not what they want to do. They want to give them the plays. They want them to go out there and execute. And if it is great, they want to take the credit. If not, we got to work better. It's never them. It's always like the players going on the field, not executing what they should be doing. And I don't know what it will take for there to be a different attitude and just a different direction. It's time. It is. I feel like we've just been stuck in a bad relationship for the last 4 years, and someone in charge needs to find a way to make it happen. Something needs to change, and it needs to be the guy who's in charge. It's unfortunate that it has to be this way, but something needs to be different. Plain and simple. If you want to be competitive, if you want to win, then you got to have a different voice, because the one that is the one in charge it's not changing. There's no adjustments. There's no prep. It just seems like whatever we're doing, we're going to keep doing it. And if it doesn't work, then it wasn't on him. It was always on the players. I don't get it. There's no urgency to fix this. There's nothing. You don't hear any stories about someone saying like, something's got to change. But again, it's just all about what they want to do. And what they want to do is secure Mike Tomlin's, 500 barely winning record. And that's going to be enough. And is it going that direction? It always seems to point that way, but there's no stopping it. And something we just got to deal with until someone turns something on, and then maybe it'll be better. I can only hope it's sooner than later, guys. So moving on to the halftime show, we're just going to do a quick Sunday recap, see where everybody stands. So Thursday night game, borderline baseball score. Whew, well, I'm sure that was riveting for the people in that stands in Denver. 10-7. Shoo. A thrilling game. And then the Colts, they barely beat the Falcons, and in London or Berlin, Germany, in the Germany game, but they're still 8-2, and they did pull out, and they were making it close, but in the end, the Colts took care of business. The Bears just skated by the Giants. I saw that Brian, I can't say his last name, Dubel, is that his last name? The head coach got fired from the Giants, and now there's an open vacancy for next season. And the Dolphins beat it. What is with the Buffalo Bills not be the 3 wins that the Dolphins have? 2 of them are against Buffalo. What is with this team? It's like the kryptonite. I don't get it. Bills can take on everybody else, but if the Dolphins get to the playoffs, they're screwed. It's a crazy stat. And like I said yesterday, guys, the Ravens just going into Minnesota, finding every annoying way to make things happen and pull out that win. Just crazy, stupid. Just it is what it is. Can't control it. And the Jets just barely eked out the Dolphins, but that's a good score. I mean, it wasn't like 6-3 like we all predicted. But yeah, the Jets have a 2-7 record. Now the Browns are 0-5 away. Yep, they are the Browns, guys. And the Patriots did beat the Bucs. I think I did call for that to happen. It was going to be back and forth, but I trusted Mike Vrabel and company to go in there and win. And yeah, they showed up. Drake May is becoming a very, very promising young quarterback, and he's got a great head coach. And guys, what is it? 5 years later, the Patriots have another system. It's like, could this now be another wave of success? It's very possible. This is what you're supposed to do. Good for them. I can root for Mike Vrabel and Drake May. There's a difference between Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and that horrible dynasty with this one. Maybe I could actually root for New England in this one. But the Saints and the Panthers, man, the Saints beating the Panthers just goes to show you guys you can have a winning record and still lose to a 2-8 team. That's just what the Panthers have been. Can't be consistent. They're not a good organization. Just living life, And this, what the heck, Jacksonville? You were up 29-10 in the fourth quarter, and you gave up that many points in the fourth to let the Texans win this game in a huge upset. Ugh. Now they're just allowing the Colts to run away with this division, so they're not catching them. I don't care if they did beat the Jaguars. They're not going to go on a 7-8 game winning streak and all of a sudden be 12-5 and beat the Colts. No, that's just not happening. So Texans, great win, but there's no way you're climbing back into this conversation. The Seahawks just destroyed the Cardinals. I mean, they basically just stopped playing really after the first half. They were completely just dominant, 38-7 by the half. Good God. Yeah, they're a great team. Great plays. You can't ask for more. The Rams destroying the 49ers. Did I call for the 49ers to win this one? I don't remember if I did or not. I think I went with the Rams, But yeah, Los Angeles, unbelievable. I know, again, injuries have hit the 49ers bad, so yes, it's not surprising that they have shown a little bit, falter, but the Rams, they have it. I mean, Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford and company, they're just winners, and it's a good thing to see. And the Lions taking on the Commanders, beating up on Marcus Mariota because, Jaden Daniels hurt again. The Lions just being the Lions. They are absolutely in the thick of things, guys. It's nice to see this. So if the Packers lose tonight, which if I saw correct, did I see this was 0-0 at one point? Okay, it's 3-0 now. Okay, my goodness gracious. That's the first score in the third quarter. Oh my gosh. Green Bay, what are they showing you at that game? The first half, no score. Wow. When was the last time? I mean, I'm curious. Let's just take a look real quick at this. Okay, so the last scoreless half was 2023 against the Vikings and the Raiders. And it ended with 3-0. Okay, good. Well, maybe see a repeat of that one, guys. Oh, my gosh. That's so stinking funny. Well, yeah, so there's the recap, guys. It looks like this will be a close game in the fourth quarter. So I'm going to be here tomorrow to give you my top 10 list. Surprise, surprise, the Steelers will not be on that. So, yeah, I'll be doing a Tuesday episode for weekly picks. Hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. I'll be talking again with the next game, which is the Bengals. And with the AFC North opponents, guys, Lad McConkey is not the greatest wide receiver on the face of the earth, but he still was able to put up the yardage he was against our cornerbacks, guys. The Bengals have two guys they have to cover. Like, they did everything they could against the Chargers, and the one guy still was able to make plays. They have two of them. So I know what I made in my preseason predictions. I'm going to predict we're going to win this game against Cincinnati, but it's going to be a heck of a interesting map that I'm going to make on Sunday coming up to talk about which way it's going to go. So you guys have yourselves a good one until next time. I will see you then. And until that, here we go, Steelers, guys.